If you want to install an area in your vintage trailer but don't want to cut into the trailer anywhere and butcher it, or you don't want something to be dragging around when you don't need, stay tuned. This might be for you. Now this is my basic stand that we're going to be using, and I'm a retired mechanic, so I had a couple of these stands. They're adjustable, and normally they would be much lower when I'm working on them, but for the air conditioning on our van, the window height is right there. It makes it nice to be able to adjust that up and down. I'll end up going right down in this area here, and I'll be cutting a couple holes through it and putting a pin through it that locks in place just as a secondary support to make sure that if that little goody there lets go, that the unit won't drop and crash the AC unit. This thing was actually made by, I think, All Trade. I don't see a name on it anymore, but it was made by a company called All Trade. And of course you can make your own stand. What we will be doing is we've taken a piece of pool noodle. In my case, I've got a support bar here. We just cut a notch out and make this the length of the thing. And you can see I've already installed some of the snaps on this thing, which the skirt will come around to here and then drop straight down. This thing here then will go over all this, and I can snug this right up to the trailer, and there's no scratching of the trailer itself or the windows or anything like that. It's just real nice. Then I set the AC unit here. Now, if I'm on an area where the ground is tapered back, I don't have to worry too much about it. The water will drain. I've got drain holes right here in all the corners. But if need be, I got a little 1/2-inch rod. You set that forward, set the front of the air conditioner on that, and it's going to tip it back just the right amount. Now you'll have the shroud, which will run around here, and I will have to put one more hole right here for a snap, and it will snap the curtain on it, and it'll drop down and cover all that. Now this is an ugly color. It's dirty, and I've got some paint that'll match the trailer's trim and the skirt, and I'll probably paint the exposed areas with that. Of course, you can make your own stands of any kind. Make it out of wood, make them out of metal, whatever it takes. Now this is fairly large when I'm done. When it's collapsed, it's still fairly large, but it's just in the bed of the pickup truck.
Please don't get the back side of it. This is going to be a little long, isn't it?
We'll bring it up some. How much you going to fold over?
Probably about 1/4 inch is all I need to do. Because I can't go more than about that because of your snaps.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get one side sewn up.
And then we'll do the cutting.
Then we'll cut the bottom.
Alright, the cutting's all done, and now we're ready to do a little bit of sewing. The serious work gets done. Thank goodness she's doing it, because I certainly couldn't do it.
Well, you're going to let me pull my hair out over it, right?
You got it. You got more than I got, so. And well, it looks like she's going slow. She is going slow, but that's because this stuff here is very difficult to feed through the sewing thing. The machine doesn't drag it along like regular material. She's doing a small 1/4 inch seam or so because we're going to need to put some snaps on this to attach it to the stand that we're going to be putting it on. And I didn't want to have to go through 2 layers of vinyl. Okay, this is it. Let me get in close so you can see what she's done. And of course there'll be some trimming she's going to need to be doing when we're done. I'm going to be putting snaps on it now so we can actually mount it and then take those final measurements. Okay, now we get it temporarily laid out here. And you can see where we'll be putting the snaps. Now this one here, I had a snap here, but I'm going to have to move it over some because we get a little more overhang than I had initially thought, and I actually like this better this way. You can see by looking at the bottom down there, what we'll have to do is trim it so it looks nice down there, and I'll probably stick some snaps down there to hold this thing taut down there. And here's the snap kit. Picked this thing up for like, I think it was $8 or $9 off of Amazon. Has the tools for cutting, tools for inserting the snaps and securing them, and has a number of snaps with various lengths on the shanks here. This is a very simple procedure to do. I made marks all around where I'm going to be putting my snaps. You can take anything and punch a hole with. I just happen to have one of these leather punch things. And you just kind of line it up where your hole is. Take the cap. You work it through, set your die down here. Little clasp here that catches on. And what did I do with my hammer? Oh, here it is, hang on. You tap on it till you have a nice solid sound. Holds on good and strong. I'd already done the rest of them, but you just do it all the way around. Okay, one other thing you want to do when you're doing this, you'll notice right there where that little brass is. See, it was kind of sticking up somewhat. You want to take it and flatten it down. And generally, I just take the back side of this and just set it over it and just tap on lightly on the end here, and it'll drive that nice and flat. Then it sticks on real good. Okay, and there it is. Snaps on nicely. I do keep in mind that we do have to trim the bottom and hem it and what have you, like we did on the top. And I'm probably going to put a couple snaps down there to keep it from blowing around. Same on the other side here. But it fits real nice, and now you can just pop it off, pop it back on. And this is the finished item when she's done. Just a hollow tube, which will be taken here And basically just put it on like that, and a snap will be put on right under where my thumb is.
I hardly have to put that down.
She's sewn through multiple layers, so it's going to be a little tough going, but looks like she's doing all right. And these are the little straps that will have the snaps on it that'll hold the base down.
To help it a little bit.
Okay, we got it all done. This is just the skirt. And the straps are down here. What I've done with the straps is I've put a little snap here and a snap on the strap. Snaps in place. Next will come on top here. We're going to have the air conditioner will sit. And it will be the shrouding, which will come around it and attach to the side of the trailer on the window area. And we'll have some snaps in that to hold that in place. And I'm also going to be painting this with, there you go, you can see just a sample of the color, which is the same paint that we use on the stripes on the side of the trailer. All right, we got the skirt on here, and you still got the prototype tarp covers here, the shroud. Wife is going to be coming out to measure this thing while it's on here, and she'll be making one of the same color as this. But you can see that that's what we're looking at. Okay, she got it laid out here. And she's gathered dimensions. Now she's kind of toying with how much extra she needs to put on there so that it'll fit properly, and I'll have some room for mistakes, a little fudge room. But I do have some movement on that table back and forth of about 3 inches, so it shouldn't be too much of a deal. Here she decided to lay out a template in paper, and then we'll see how that fits before she does a real cutting. And here's the finished product. You can see we get snaps all around here. Snaps right on, and all that comes off when we're not using it. You can see we've put the snaps right on the window here. And should somewhere down the road you don't want them, you just take the snaps out, put screws back in it. Okay, and here's what it looks like from the inside. I'm going to make this quick because it's like 108 degrees inside this trailer, and I don't have a cord to run out to this air conditioner. But that's what it looks like. It's behind the screen. And we have the crank out windows here. The jealousy windows that crank out. And it just directs that air right in. I can position where I want the air to come in by where I put the windows. Now I'll get it here and here. If I don't want it blowing on me, I just rise the window up a little bit and it blows up here. So that's it. Any questions, folks, just feel free to ask down below. It's a fairly simple task. And thanks for watching, guys. All right, in doing this, you're going to run across a problem with your screws sometimes going in here and being loose, not fitting tight. Here's a quick trick to take care of that. And you can use that on any of the screws on the trailer that you don't feel are tightening up properly. A couple toothpicks. Now I use the flat ones, but they also have the fat round ones. You can do whatever you want with them. Take this toothpick and put it in there. Break it off. Stick the other portion of it in there and break off what you don't need. And take your screw. In this case, we're using the screw with the snap on it. And then just secure this thing in here. Nice and tight. Works every time. And I've used it on these screws here, all through the trailer. Every single one I did on this trailer, even where brand new wood was put in, I still use one of those screws that put the toothpicks in, unless the holes were dead behind it and I had to cut a hole. If I drilled a hole in, it was fine. But if not, and in most cases things are put on and then pulled back off for sizing purposes, I would then put the toothpick in every single one of them. And there's the stand I was using. As you can see, I've painted it to match the trailer. In fact, I use the same paint I use the paint to do the side straps with. But I've got it in its total collapse position. You can see, and it is adjustable, comes up and down. Just a little trick I thought you might use.